Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to Bravo 22 Live on YouTube, made possible by the Royal British Legion and the Drive Project. For those of you guys watching that don't know me, my name's Dean Williams. I'm an ex-RAF engineer, and I've been with Bravo 22 now since January, I think it was. I did two-colour lino cut with our famous Al Johnson in Leeds, and then a month later in February, the infamous Alice Palmer called me and said, "Do you fancy coming to Birmingham to do a theatre workshop?" And that's where I met today's professional. So we've got lots of artists coming up for you in the next couple of weeks to join and chat with you live in your homes, not just with art, but we've got a full comedy series coming every Tuesday. Please ask all your friends and all your family to join us and watch. Post it all on social media, share everything, like everything. And please as well, get as many people as you can to subscribe to this channel. So today, if you want to send any questions or comments my way during the show, you can do that in the live chat. And without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you a professional improviser and all-round legend, the one, the only, Susan Harrison.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Dean. What a lovely intro. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live session on improvisation. It's really great to know that you're all watching here today. And for those of you who haven't met me and didn't meet me in Birmingham, I'm an actress and I've been specialising in improvisation for the last 10 years. And so as you can see, I'm pretty obsessed with it. And I'm a member of Showstopper the Improvised Musical, which is an Olivier Award-winning, fully improvised 2-act musical that we perform on the West End. And I've also been lucky enough to perform improv in lots of different countries around the world. So I've been in Sweden doing improvised Enid Blyton. I've been in Rome with my own show, These Folk, an improvised folk show. And I perform, before lockdown, was performing in London or throughout the UK most weeks. And yeah, all that to say, this is my absolute passion. And it was really lovely to have the chance to sort of teach a bit of what I know in Birmingham, and lovely to get the chance to share it with you today. So there's loads of things I love about improv, and one of the things I really love is that you can be anything. So you can be any character. I can be myself, but I can also play like an old man or a cat or a sentient tub of marmalade. Anything at all, anything goes. But the other thing that I love, just sort of as a person, as a human, is that it's all about having each other's back and looking out for each other. And that's just such a lovely, fun ethos, I think. And today we're going to look at a few of the core principles of improv. And I don't know about you watching at home, but a lot of people worry that improv is about being the fastest or the cleverest or the wackiest or the loudest. And it's not actually about those things. It's about looking out for each other and listening to each other. And that's where the comedy comes. The comedy comes from making discoveries. So myself and Dean are going to show you a few exercises around that today. So the first thing we'll kick off with is the first important skill, which is, as improvisers, you need to listen. So Dean, if you're up for it, we're going to demonstrate a game now, which is called Word at a Time Story. And everyone else at home, you can play this with your friends or families, whoever you're in lockdown with. And we're just going to tell a story one word at a time, and we're going to start once upon a time just to get a smooth ramp into it, and then we'll go wherever we go. All right. Okay. Once
upon
a
time
there
was
a
lady
called
Alice.
She
loved
to
eat
all
the
people
in
the
world.
Every
time
she
ate
a
person
she
would
Laugh. Very nice. Thanks, Dean. That was really fun. And yeah, it'd be good to hear from you when you're playing this, because I know you've played this at Birmingham as well. When you're playing this game, do you know where it's going to go?
Not a clue. It could go anywhere. It could end in laughter. It could go dark. It could go horribly wrong. It could end up anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the lovely thing about this game, is that you can't control, neither me or Dean can control where it goes. We don't know what's going to happen. And that's a really key part of improv. The only way you can build a scene or a game together is just by listening to each other, doing it one step at a time, and neither of us are in control, which I think is really a really exciting place to be. So thanks, Dean. That's brilliantly demoed by you. The next thing we're going to move on to is this idea of accept and build. In other words, yes and. And this is the idea that whatever the other improviser presents you with, you accept their offer and then you build on it. So you are, we want to always be like embracing each other's ideas and building them up. So to demonstrate this, we're going to play a little game now where we're going to pretend that we've got a shared memory, like a little anecdote. And Dean, if you could start this by saying, do you remember when we, and I'm going to say yes and you say yes and I say yes and we just build up a little memory bit by bit. It doesn't need to be anything spectacular. Who knows what will happen? We'll find out. All right.
Okay. So, Susan, do you remember when we went on the tandem bike that time?
Yeah, and we went round all of the left-hand corners really carefully so we didn't fall off.
Yeah, and it was really difficult to ride because of the length of it. We couldn't lean over at all.
Yeah, we had to sort of hold out our bodies really tight, and we were thinking, God, I wish I'd done more like core strength practice.
Yeah, definitely. And then when I nearly fell off from balancing, because I had to stick my right foot out as we were turning left to hold us straight.
Yeah, and that cyclist who was like on the outside trying to overtake us was really annoyed because they nearly stumbled on your foot sticking out.
Yeah, definitely. And then he gave us a few signs as he rode past us because he wasn't happy that I'd nearly kicked him in the face.
Yeah, and those signs were not in the highway code, and we were really shocked.
Yeah, definitely shocked.
Thanks, Dean. Yeah, great. So another example there where we were just listening to each other, that's all we were doing, and we were just building it up bit by bit. How do you find the experience of doing this game, Dean?
It's all improvisation is just, it's off a whim. There are no rules, there's no practicing. It for me, like we learned in Birmingham, you've just got to, like we've just discussed, you've got to accept the other person's ideas and say yes to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the yes and game is a really nice one to play because it really, by saying yes and each time, it really forces you to make sure you're listening and to make sure that you're really, embracing that person's idea, which we don't always do in life. So it's quite a fun thing to try.
Yeah, definitely it is. It gets your brain working, and sometimes just whatever comes out, you just have to go with.
Yeah.
I've got a few shout outs to give quickly, Susan, if that's all right. Shout out for Graham, Shirley, Luke, Matt, Lorraine, Baz, and Angela. They're all watching us today live. And I've got one question come through for you. There's, where does Susan use her improv mostly? And that's a question from Sally Ann.
Ooh, where do I use my improv mostly? That's a great question. I suppose, I suppose I've been doing it so long that it probably informs everything I do, really, I guess. I do quite a few different creative things, like I do a bit of writing and acting with scripts as well. And I do use my improv in all of those areas now. I think it really helps you to like take risks and give stuff a go creatively, and not to worry if it comes out a bit wrong at first, because you know that, you can just try again. And I suppose we all use it in life, don't we? Sometimes I use it if I'm meeting a new person, and sometimes if you're a bit nervous about meeting a new person, you might just remind yourself, oh, all you need to do is listen and, add to what they're saying. So I think that's just like a really great thing to carry through life. Really handy. And also just using improv games, in family events, like over Zoom, for instance, you can play games. I think I did play an improv game over Zoom with nieces and nephews, and that's another great way to use it, just to remind yourself to keep playing and keep it playful. But hello to all those people as well that we did a shout out for. Nice to see that they're watching. Brilliant, fantastic. Were there any other questions at this point, Dean, or shall we?
Yeah, Susan, we've got a couple more. Well, two more. Luke wants to know, how might somebody do a solo improv thing?
That is such a great question, obviously, particularly for the moment with the limitations we've all got of lockdown. Great question. I have done some solo improv, but I've never done like a full hour or anything. I think I did about 15 minutes, and it is possible. I took suggestions from the audience, and then I played lots of different characters. So I guess that's one way around it, is imagining yourself jumping into different characters. And in terms of watching someone who does improv on their own really well, there's an act called Abandonment, that's a guy called Rob, really is his real name, and he does improvised hip hop, and he's sort of solo, really, just sort of takes audience suggestions continuously. So I'll add his links to the thread later, but that's a good one to watch for inspiration on that. Great. So maybe we'll carry on, and then we'll double back for any extra questions. The next sort of core tip or core skill that I wanted to mention was this idea of making the other person look good. And this is such a lovely foundation for improv. We always want to be trying to make the other person look good, and then in turn that makes the whole thing look good. So in order to do this, we use all of our skills. We listen, we accept and build on what they've said, and we enjoy their offers, their suggestions. We enjoy them, and we quickly and swiftly agree with what they're coming up with. So just to put this in action quite briefly, we're going to play a game, me and Dean, called Gibberish, which is one of the most fun improv games to play. And everyone watching at home, you are all fluent in gibberish. So I'm just going to say something to Dean now, just casually in gibberish. Di parafel na bora gibberish, Dean?
Flippity bum gibberish, Susan.
Yeah, exactly. He's been completely fluent in gibberish all his life, Susan, he just said. So if you're at home, please feel free, even if you're on your own, feel free to just go and find out what kind of gibberish you speak. We all have a slightly different dialect. And we are now going to demonstrate this in a little game. So we need you in the comments to give us a suggestion, please, because in a moment we're going to play a game where Dean is going to be a professor, and we want you to tell us what he's a professor in, what his area of expertise is. So if you could have a little type in the comments, and then in a moment we will play a short game where we look at that. And I think the lovely thing about this game is that it's one of those things that sometimes, like I taught students a while ago who said to me at the end of the session, oh, this is something I used to do when I was a child, like with my brother and sister, just for fun. And it's one of those things that you sort of do when you're a kid, and then you, as an adult, you forget that you are still allowed to be playful if you want to be. So it's a really nice one for tapping into that as well. Do we have any suggestions in the live stream?
We haven't had anything come through yet. I have actually just had a text from my mum. So apparently my mum's watching, and she wants me to give my little sister a shout out. So hi, Emily. That's my little sister who's watching us today. we have now got a suggestion for a professor in breakfast cereals.
Oh, amazing. What a great area of expertise. Excellent. Thank you so much. Well, I'm just going to give a brief interview with the professor of breakfast cereals. So, Professor, I've got to say it's a real honour to have you here today. And I was wondering what it was in your life that made you want to specialise and made you so passionate about breakfast cereals.
Flipper bum bum bum. Flipper and flipper ila poo.
Okay. So the professor was just explaining there that since he was a little boy, he always loved devouring, and the more food he ate, he thought, this is pretty good. And then he ate some more food and he thought, this is even better. And he realized at that moment he needed to devote his life to food, specifically food at the start of the day. Interesting. So what is it about the start of the day that appeals to you? Is it maybe something that happened to you in your childhood or in your later life?
The lumpy poo, imo poo, aleman mu gaga.
Okay. He's just saying he's always had a lot of sort of thoughts swirling around his head, that his whole life, and that his mum's always really encouraged him to take an interest in the morning sun since he was a baby. Thank you so much, Professor. Maybe just a final question. How does breakfast cereal make you feel? And two parts. And what is your favourite breakfast cereal?
Flalilmo giga pubo nilmo nu baba and ilo flick box.
Okay. It makes him feel full of love and gives him a sense of optimism about the future. And his favourite cereal is Cocoa Pops. Thank you. What a pleasure to interview you today. And thanks to those of you watching at home for your great suggestion there. That was lovely. So yeah, as you could see in that game, we had a lot of fun. It's very silly, very light, the kind of thing that reminds you to make each other look good by agreeing with each other. Even though we're not speaking the same language, we're still supporting each other in that game by responding as if we can understand each other. And any physical gesture that Dean makes is really helpful to me, because then I can use it when I'm recapping what he's saying. So he's making me look good and I'm making him look good by both buying into that, all of that idea. So and as I said before, this game is so nice because it reminds you to stay playful. And I think that is sort of the final overarching tip that I would give you when approaching improv, is just this idea of really keeping playful, keeping light, not taking yourself too seriously, and being happy to make mistakes and make risks in this world of improv. So I wonder if there's any more questions that we had, Dean, through.
We've got one more question, and we have actually got another couple of suggestions for professors in gibberish.
Okay.
But the latest question, or the last question, please guys keep sending questions in, and we'll try and get through them today. If you send a question in and we don't get through them, you can just send them on an email to Alice Palmer at the Drive Project, and she can get them sent over to Susan, and I'm sure Susan won't have any qualms in answering any questions after. But keep those questions coming in. We've just got one at the moment. It says, have you ever been completely thrown, Susan, during the yes and game? And that's from Lorraine Smith.
Well, that's a good question. I'm sure that has happened before. Yeah, I think it's very natural that even if you've done it for a while, that you have moments where you suddenly get thrown because you maybe get distracted, or because because maybe this person says something that you really, really weren't expecting. I'm sure that has happened. And the way to get your head back in gear is to really think about what they just said, and sometimes even just to repeat it and then add a bit more onto it. And that can really help you get back on track again, to repeat what they've said, yes, and blah, 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 and then add a bit more. If you find yourself getting stuck. Because, yeah, of course, there are moments when you get thrown doing this scene or in the middle of a show, because nobody knows what's going to happen. So it's only natural that those moments occur. And the way to get back on track is definitely just to look at the other person, really listen to what they're saying. So, yeah.
I find as well, Susan, that I find myself getting thrown when I'm doing improv because I just can't control my laughter. The things that come out, I can't help but laugh, and then it once all the laughter's finished, and then I laugh, and then the other person laughs at me, and then the audience laughs, and then get time to collect again.
Yeah, I think that's so nice, though. I love it when improvisers laugh on stage. Not if they're trying to laugh, not if they're like deliberately bursting into laughter, but when we can't help it, when we're so just so delighted by each other or surprised by each other, that's great, because that's what humor is all about. It's, in terms of what makes something funny with improv, the thing that makes it funny are these moments of discovery and these surprises. And sometimes that does make us laugh on stage. But I think with improv, we can use that, and we can always, if you're in a scene, you can say to the other person, like, why are you laughing at me? Like if it's a really serious scene, I thought you loved me. Why are you laughing at me? Or sometimes, you just have to give into it. And it's really, I think audiences find it really lovely and delightful when it's real, But yeah, it's a great point. Maybe we should do a final gibberish. If there was, did you say there were a couple of other suggestions?
Yeah, I've got the next one that came in was a professor in robotic farm animals.
Oh, amazing. And Dean, I reckon this professor might move in a robotic way, or might have a robotic tone to his voice. Who knows? Let's find out. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the professor, as you know, this is Professor of robotic farm animals. Lovely to meet you, sir. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I should have responded with your cultural which means greetings, earthlings. So I was wondering, what kind of robotic animals do you prefer? I mean, you've probably got a favourite. Okay. Of all of the mammals, he prefers the robotic cows. Lovely, thank you. And is it difficult to milk a robotic cow? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really quite a simple system. It's similar to the usual udder system, which then gets funneled upwards. Great, great. And maybe just a final question to you. What has been your proudest achievement in terms of animal robotics?
Oh,
wow, that's amazing. Wow, actually engineering a baby cow. Amazing. Thank you so much, Professor. What a joy to meet you. Thanks, Dean. That was another great suggestion from the live stream. Many thanks for that. So yeah, again, as you could see, this is just like very, very playful, a really fun, silly way to have a laugh, but also to be really trying to help each other out. So I think that's that's probably why this is one of my favorite games. And please, if you are at home, please do give these things a go, as in if you are at home with other people, sorry. If you are on your own, then this may have been what Luke was asking earlier, and I'm trying to think of exercises you can do on your own if you are in lockdown solo. And I think rhyming games are quite fun to do on your own. So, for example, there's a game called We Know How to Rhyme, and it involves finding a rhyme and then another rhyme and then saying we know how to rhyme. So I'll just do it very briefly. So it would be like, I have got a cat, it sits on a mat. And then a third one, it is an enemy of a rat, we know how to rhyme. So start with really simple one-syllable words, and then as you do it more and more, entertaining yourself in the shower, then you might want to add like two-syllable words and make it harder. So that's that's definitely something you can do on your own. Are there any other questions on the live stream that we need to look at?
I haven't got any ones coming through. I think they might be coming through at the moment, but there's nothing there at this precise moment.
No worries at all. It's just been really nice to talk to everyone about improv today, and lovely to demonstrate some games with you, Dean. And it's been great. I hope that everyone watching at home can just remember that, as I was saying earlier, improv is not about being the cleverest or the funniest or the loudest. It is just about supporting each other and being playful and listening to each other and building on each other's ideas. So please do give any of these games a go. If you're on your own, you can always try these out via Zoom with a friend as well. And just keep staying playful and keep listening. Thank you so much. It's been really nice to chat today, and I will hand you over to Dean. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much for that, Susan. I've just had some, not really a message come through, just lots of laughs coming in and people asking how I'm not laughing. You try and hold it in, but there are moments when you can't hold it in. So thank you again for that, Susan. That was absolutely amazing. Thank you all for watching today and sending in all your questions and all your comments. Please keep liking, everybody. If you can subscribe to the channel, and just keep everything coming in. Check out the links below, around here somewhere. There should be some links in there to give you some more improv opportunities. And please as well, can you guys complete the survey for the feedback? Because we need to know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, if there's anything else that you want us to get on these live channels. So for the people that are signed up tomorrow to the improv workshop, unfortunately I'm not going to be there, but the Bravo team can't wait to see you all. For those of you that are not down for the workshop tomorrow, get your names down for any future workshops, because they are absolutely amazing. We're going to be back on Bravo 22 Live on Thursday at 11 o'clock. We've got a puppetry workshop. It's been run by Adam Courtin and presented by the wonderful Lorraine Smith, who's watching today. So thank you very much for joining us today. Bye-bye for now. Stay safe, guys, and have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.